or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Meet the Experts with Mike Vilardi. Join us each week as we bring you expert opinions on different subjects ranging from medical to political and community to economy. We answer all of your questions live. Have a question? Call into the show at 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now to Mike.
Welcome to tonight's show. We have another great show for you tonight. And tonight's focus is going to be on law enforcement. We have an excellent guest, an amazing guest. He was a former Ocala police officer who retired and is now running for sheriff. His name is Ruamen. Ruamen, welcome to the show. And we're going to talk law enforcement. We're going to talk about your candidacy. And we're going to allow you to talk about not only your race, but what's happening in general in this country when it comes to law enforcement. Ruamen, I've never seen it in my years, in my last 20 years. We see more crime now than probably ever before. New York City, Los Angeles, in San Francisco, Target had to take a $400 million loss because of theft. Now, you're running for sheriff in Miami. You have a prolific background as a law enforcement officer. So I want to first give you the opportunity to tell people about what you've done and who you are and why you're running for sheriff.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. And everything I start with is glory to God before we start any segment. Like you said, my name is Ruamen Delarua. I'm running for Miami Dade County Sheriff. I'm a Republican, and I'm also, I love this country, and I love Miami-Dade County. The reason I say that is because the desire that I have to become the first Miami-Dade County Sheriff since 1966. And I'm a pro law enforcement leader, that I have to uncuff the police that we currently have and let them do their job. My message is very simple. Policing is broken, it's not working, and it's time for a change.
And you're saying that because of the increased crime rates all over the country, like we've seen in New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco?
Of course.
Is that right?
Of course. If you look, yes, Mike. If you look at law enforcement nationwide, I'm not just saying local. The policemen's hands are tied, where they're not getting the backing from the administration. That's one. And then two, there's a lot of people out there trying to defund the police. So they're stuck in between where they, do we do something or we don't do something? Because either way, they're not being backed. And you go into instead of proactive police departments, you go into the reactive. So what's that mean? That if there's a call for service, the police are going to react. But when there's a crime in progress, they're not going to react. And that's what we have today.
Right. I mean, in New York, they said that there's something like 337 people that are responsible for 80% of the crime. And they keep getting released and come back and do the same thing. Steal and steal more and steal more. And they haven't been able to stop it. Now it's out of control to the point where not only are people leaving, but businesses are having to shut down. They're having to lock up their items behind glass cases because they can't trust people to not steal it. And in certain cases, the store owners are taking it into their own hands to beat the people. There was a video, I don't know if you saw it or not, this one guy took a trash can. He was piling all the stuff in, and before he could make it out the exit door, he got tackled by one guy, and another guy came with a broom and was beating him with the broom.
And that's a shame because our citizens expect quality of life, and that's a twofold, because quality of life is where you're supposed to live your life without being scared or being thinking about, you know, when I'm going to get robbed or something's going to happen to me. So the police are not doing what they need to do, is be more proactive so the quality of life can be better. And then on the other hand, if we keep allowing these criminals, larceny criminals, to continue going to stores and taking merchandise, and we're not following through with that, what does it happen to us is that the prices go up, and now the economy goes up, and no, you know, as it is now, inflation is going skyrocket.
Yeah, and the milk is $6 a gallon.
Correct.
People can't afford it. I was in the pool yesterday, and this one woman was talking to me and how it's so hard to make ends meet. You know, if you have a family, if you have a family of 2 or 3 children, if you have a mother that stays home to take care of the kids, the husband has to work 2 to 3 jobs just to pay the bills.
And there's, the jobs are, you know, not that many people are hiring or wishing to work. They rather stay home and live off the government, which we got to change that as well.
Well, absolutely. We're giving a lot of money to the immigrants as they come over, and they're getting a whole bunch of free stuff, and it's taken away from the money we should be giving to our citizens, you know, especially our veterans who've lost limbs or got severely injured in battle. These are the people we should be taking care of, and we're not, and it's really a shame. Now, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your background, and let's talk about what you're going to do as the first sheriff in Miami since 1962.
Well, you know, I graduated from St. Leo University with my bachelor's, and I also went to St. Leo with for my command school. I have middle management, line supervision, canine management. So I have all the courses needed. If you needed any requirements, because to become a sheriff, you know, you don't have to have law enforcement experience, but luckily I do. And, you know, with my experience, I have 40 years plus, where I started back in 1978 with City of Miami Police Department as an explorer. And that was actually what got me to my foundation of law enforcement. You know, I was 14 at the time, and, you know, I was learning the intricate parts of law enforcement and community policing at that time. And it carried to 1982, where I was hired by the City of Miami as a public service aide, where I ended up working on the streets, working patrol. And then in 1984, I was promoted to a police officer. So I started my career on the streets in 1984, you know, patrol, directed patrol, which was undercover details. And 1987, I moved to Marion County, Florida, and began my deputy career, which, you know, it was the best thing, you know, working in the city, and the city being back in the 80s, where we had a lot of crime, we had a lot of immigrants coming. It was just, I think, the right time for me to move. So, you know, I was a deputy. I was a field training officer, a master deputy. I became sergeant, lieutenant, assistant district commander, and then district commander in my tenure. And I've worked every division you can think of in Marion County. I decided 2013 to retire and come back to my hometown, where, you know, I grew up in Hialeah and graduated from Hialeah, Miami Lakes in 1982. So I wanted to go back and just give back to the community I came from, that, you know, helped me when I was a child. And that's where we're at today, you know.
So you really have extensive law enforcement experience. You've held, what, 5, 6 positions, different positions, right? All moving all the way up. I mean, you got to lieutenant, you went above lieutenant, you were in training, you got training with canines. So you really know law enforcement pretty well.
Well, I have, the good thing is that no other opponent of mine has the sheriff's office experience. I have 26 years of sheriff's office experience, and also 14 years of police experience, which I think it'll be a smooth transition on getting the Miami-Dade Police Department on board with the Sheriff's Office vision and mission, which I think it'll be a very smooth transition.
So, okay, so let me ask you this question. You're going to have, the sheriff's department is going to be a new department. They haven't had a sheriff since the 60s, correct?
Correct. 1966 was the last time they had the Sheriff's Office, and they abolished it because they wanted to go to the home rule government, which means that the mayor would now be in charge of all those constitution offices, which would be the sheriff's office, tax collector, and also the supervisor of the election, where she or he would appoint directors to those positions. So in 2018, there was a referendum on our ballots where it came out that we, the people, should consider having sheriffs in every county, and it passed in 2018, where that means that, you know, there were 66 sheriffs in the county, and Miami-Dade is the only one without a sheriff, so it would be 67 sheriffs that we would have in Florida. With that said, the current government of Miami-Dade County decided, even the directors, even the police that are constitutional officers, they swear the same oath I do, they didn't want the sheriff's office to come to Miami-Dade County. You know, I've never wavered from the sheriff's office coming because I believe, one, I'm a strong conservative, I'm a constitutional sheriff leader, and we came out in November of 2022. So the Florida Sheriff's Association sued Miami-Dade County to get full rights. They lost the suit. A few months later, they went to the legislation in Tallahassee. They got 2 state representatives to draw up a bill stating that every county in Florida will have a sheriff's office. And Governor Ron DeSantis signed it in May, where now it's going to happen. So now after me filing, you have other people that decided to join the race. I believe for the wrong reasons versus, you know, the reasons that I do. It was because of the community. I knew the community needed a new face, and it's a new law enforcement style that we need here in Miami-Dade County.
Now, what kind of budget and what kind of manpower will you be given?
Well, the budget's like $860 million to the budget, and then we have on the force it's 4,000 sworn, and I believe it's like 1,400 non-sworn, and that budget is right now is under the mayor, the Board of Commissions.
So it's going to come from his budget to create the sheriff's department. Is that correct?
Correct. And with that, as it stands today, they wanted the sheriff to only be in charge of the court services, but with the law that Ron DeSantis, our governor, signed, now we would be the chief executive administrator over law enforcement in Miami-Dade County. So we have different entities like the port, the airport, and we have some 3 cities that we contract. So all that money that goes to those entities would have to be under my budget.
All right, so we got a minute before we go to commercial break. Tell people how they could support you, where they could find you before we go to the commercial.
All right. We're running a grassroots campaign, www.delaruaforsheriff2024.com. Please share, donate, look at our social media, and thank you so much.
All right, so that's how they can get in touch with you. That's how they could donate. How about team? Do you have people? Do you need people?
We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for advisors that may have a good input. You know, the community. I want the community to be involved in this new department. And I just don't want to let, you know, the politicians rule what's going to happen. I want the community. It's going to be the communities. I'm the people's sheriff, not the sheriff of people.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about how you're going to get people for your campaign. We'll be
All right.
back with Meet the Experts in just a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Text alert! Text alert!
I was receiving letter after letter from the IRS.
I got Mike Vilardi on the phone and I said, Mike, I got a problem.
He took the pressure off my shoulders.
He just made me feel like I had Superman on my side.
Trust me, he's the man to go to.
IRS problems? I'm Mike Vilardi, enrolled agent. I can help. My company, Winning Tax Solutions, has always gotten our clients the best possible results. Visit us at winningtaxsolutions.com or call us today.
This message was brought to you by Warburg Equities and the Cricken Law Trust.
Hi, I'm Adam, an associate with the Cricken Law Trust. We're here to help you process money owed to you through the CARES Act. If your business employed 10 or more people and maintained payroll taxes through the 2021 shutdown, the Cricken Law Trust can help you get your money back. This money is yours, but if you don't apply now, you might lose this opportunity and it'll be gone forever. Contact us now. Go to www.my123erc.com. Now that's www.my123erc.com.
You've been watching Meet the Experts with Mike Vilardi. If you have any questions, call in at 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. All right, we were talking about getting volunteers for your sheriff run. So please tell people what you need them to do, how many people you can use, and where can they go to volunteer so they can help you down in Miami-Dade County.
Well, they go to the website that's provided. Feel free to click on the volunteer. We have a lot of services that we're doing right now. We're in the process of door knocking, and we're trying to go throughout the county. You know, like I said, you know, this is a grassroots campaign, and we need all hands on deck. It's not about the big money that big corporations that have nothing to do with the Miami-Dade County infrastructure. You know, that's why we need the support of the community.
Right, you need to get your message out. Now, you know, when I was running for Congress, you know, they talk about the elevator speech, you know, that 30-second speech you have to give to people when you door knock or when you're going. What are the top 3 things you're looking to accomplish as the first sheriff in Miami-Dade since 1966? Where are you going to take the sheriff's office? What do you want to see? The top 3 things you hope to get done.
Well, right off the bat, you know, community policing to a different level than what we have today to make the quality of life a lot better. The second thing is that we have to bring back law and order to the criminals out there that have been going on for several years now, you know, on the premise that law enforcement is no longer going to chase or arrest. And the third is the juvenile. There's a Florida Sheriff's Association has a youth ranch, which is unbelievable. And there's only 2, I believe, in the state of Florida. And I want to bring that to Miami-Dade County with the help of the community, which I think is an asset to the youth of Miami-Dade County that they're not experiencing now.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, the PAL boxing and all those different programs to keep the youths off the street, I think is invaluable.
I agree. There's not really a structure for them to go other than, you know, the old football parks but we need to go out. We need to stretch. We need to give them more of a variety of living versus not giving the community more support, more help. There's a lot of programs that the Florida Sheriff's Association has to offer, not only the youth, but we have the elderly, you know, we have the homeless issues. There's a lot of things that I'm going to, the minute I get sworn in, we're going to rock and roll. How about that?
No, it sounds good. I mean, homelessness. I know it's certainly a big problem in Los Angeles, and I would think Miami would have an issue with it too, just because of the weather being so nice. And if you're going to be homeless, you want to be homeless in a nice warm weather situation than in the freezing cold of Antarctica.
It is. I got to find out a new way of helping the homeless, and I'll tell you why. You know, I had a cousin that, you know, we lived together forever. You know, we grew up together, and he passed away 3 years ago, and he was homeless. And you know, me knowing the police system, you know, like anybody else, I reached out to those entities, and it turned out to be that, you know, they don't help. They don't help. We need to find another solution. You know, I lost them 3 years ago because there wasn't enough help. So, you know, I want to tackle homelessness, mental illness, not only for the public, but also for law enforcement. There's an epidemic going on, and we got to, you know, I got to put a stop to it.
You know, I have a client of mine who builds what's called self-sustaining cities, and it's geared towards the homeless. Basically, they make earthen houses very inexpensively, and then have a system for water and electricity. And I'm going to put you in touch with him,
Okay.
because if you could buy a big tract of land, you could develop, you know, like a homeless development for people that are homeless at a very reasonable cost, or certainly have affordable housing where you could build a house for less than $30,000 and it's decent and livable. And that's what he does. Is one of the things he does. He's one of my clients, and like I said, I want to put you in touch with him because I was going to use his stuff when I was running for Congress if I got elected.
Well, I definitely would welcome it because, you know, it's going to take just more than me. You know, we need to get the county commissioners, the public, you know, in this idea, especially when we have so many developers that are coming to Miami-Dade County. You know, that there's some way somehow that, you know, they can set aside some funding, like you're saying, that we can use a company or find some land where we can house the homeless at whatever cost we can, as long as it's low.
Well, that's what you need, and and then there's the mental health issue, which is a separate issue because a lot of homelessness is due to people who have mental health problems or drug problems. Sometimes it's just people that got old, didn't pay enough into the Social Security system, didn't have any financial backing to fall back on, and then they're trying to live on a $1,300 a month Social Security check, and they just can't afford it.
Exactly. Even when I called the 1-800 elderly abuse, or to take care of my cousin to find housing, they actually told me that you got better luck, you know, calling New Jersey for housing.
Right.
So, you know, for me to do that, you know, and get that information for a family member, can you imagine what the regular citizens out there that need help? They're not getting the help they need. So I'm going to be on it.
No, they're not. We got 2 minutes left in the show. I want you to take those 2 minutes to tell people where they can get in touch with you, how they can help you, and why to vote for you, and get them to support you.
Again, you know, I have 40 years of law enforcement experience. None of my opponents are going to have the sheriff experience that is needed, so we can have both the Miami-Dade Police and the Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office swiftly move together in a great transition. You know, we're going to keep all the employees that are there. I'm going to have them help me move forward, also with the community. We always looking for volunteers at our www.delaruaforsheriff2024.com. And the quality of life is going to go, it's going to be smoother and better.
All right, to sum it up, you are the most qualified person for this job that's in the race. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. 44 plus years.
You have 44 plus years of law enforcement experience. You've done a great job in all the positions you've held in the police departments as well as the sheriff's office. you'll be the best person to get this position.
Mike, if
And that,
if I can add, I'm a innovative, visionary, and I'm also a strong leader that will hold everybody accountable and transparent in my tenure, which we don't have today.
excellent. All right, so we're asking everybody to go to your website one more time, give it to them one more time, Delarua for Sheriff 2024. Please support Ruamen. Thank you for coming to the show.
Mike, it's a
always
pleasure.
to
Thank you
have
so much.
So you're welcome, and we're going to do what we can to get you elected because you are the best qualified person for that job, and we want to see you get it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching Meet the Experts. Till next time, I'm Mike Vilardi, your host. We'll see you then.
Thank you for tuning in to Meet the Experts with Mike Vilardi. For more information, contact Mike at 888-994-4995, Studio A. Join us next time for another exciting show.
Hey travelers, everybody wants cheap airfares, but where can you find them? You call Smart Fares.